Everybody, my name is Susan Reed, and I'm a master's student at Indiana University. And I study birds. I study biology, but my study system is birds. And I've been studying birds for the past 7 years, and I really love it. I've been to some really beautiful places. This up here in the upper left is in the Netherlands, and we rode bikes everywhere. They're really super into bikes there. And this is also in the Netherlands. This is the Wadden Sea in the background. We studied the blue tit, which is in the upper right here, and we would put these small bracelets on them so that we could identify them out in the trees after we release them. So then we could take binoculars and look at their color combination that we put on their legs and identify them from far away. And this is in Yosemite National Park. This is a Steller's jay. It's just like a blue jay, but in the west. And here's a beautiful alpine lake in Yosemite National Park. And ever since I've been in graduate school since last year, I've been studying the American robin with this wonderful scientist named Alex John. And he's been studying these birds for the past 5 years or so. So he's kind of like an expert, and I've been learning a lot from him. Their range extends all the way from the southern part of Florida through the upper parts of Alaska. And they're super common. I'm sure you've seen this bird around. They're kind of everywhere, especially around this area. To study them, we put these biologgers on them, and they wear them like backpacks. And once we've released them out into the wild again, we can see their migration movements on a computer, just like in the right picture here. So we can track where they go and how far they go, which is really useful information. And this is me working in Indiana. This is actually on the university campus, really early in the morning, so early that it was still dark out. Very cold as well, sometimes wet. So we have to come prepared. But this is, yeah, I'm just putting those small bracelets on the ankle of the bird in the far left picture. In the middle here is Ariel, and she helped me so much with all of the field work in Indiana. And in the lower right here is me collecting a blood sample from a bird. And when we work out in the field, we handwrite everything kind of quickly, but we have to do a really good job of it because we only have one chance to get it down. And once we collect all of these numbers, we stick it onto a data sheet on the computer, and we can make some really pretty graphs from them. And we can share these graphs with the whole scientific community. And I think that's really cool because other people will read the things that we write about, and it can be really impactful for conservation or for policy, or maybe other people are just interested in whatever information you're interested in too, so you can talk about it. And that's really fun. After working in Indiana, we wanted to do an interpopulation comparison between the Indiana population and a Alaska population. So we got on an airplane and took all of our sampling supplies with us, and we flew to Alaska. And it was so beautiful. And there were lots of mountains everywhere. It's probably the most beautiful place I've ever been. I can't believe the number of mountains. It was wild. This is a standard field site in Alaska. So I would look up from holding a bird and be looking at this beautiful mountain range and a beautiful lake. And I couldn't believe my eyes half the time. It was absolutely incredible. And to capture the birds, we put up a mist net, and it's this really long net with a really fine mesh, and it looks kind of like a volleyball net, but the birds can't really see it very well. especially when it's in the shadows. And so birds will accidentally fly into this net and get a little bit tangled. So we'll run up to them and untangle them and collect some samples. Like this year, I was taking claw samples, a feather sample, and collecting blood samples as well. And then we would safely release the bird back into the wild. And this is Alex up here with a bird in the upper right. Here is a nest, and the eggs are this beautiful blue color. If you haven't seen robin eggs before, you should look around in the spring for them because they're so cool looking. And in the lower right here, there's a few bears. There were bears everywhere. It was so cool. Yeah, this is a standard setup of our field supplies, and how I would collect samples in the field. I would be holding a bird and walk back to the back of a vehicle like this, and all of my tools were there set up and ready for me to collect samples. And after our day out in the field, we would go to a veterinarian's office where I would store all of the blood samples in a freezer. And here's some bears. They're so cute. We saw so many. They were a lot like deer here, where there's so many deer everywhere here. And yeah, there were bears all over the place. These are all black bears, and some of them can come in this cinnamon color. They're really cool. There's Mama Bear and her two cubs. And these are grizzly bears, which were also all around. And so we had to come prepared with bear spray to make sure that we were prepared in case we encountered one, because there were other people where we were working that actually did have a really bad experience with a grizzly bear. So we became kind of wary and made sure that we always had our bear spray with us. But they're like twice the size of as the black bears, kind of wild. There were moose everywhere as well, and this is just a baby. He's really cute, but they can be around twice the size of this moose. Some of them had antlers. They were really cute. This is a sharp-shinned hawk. Sometimes when you put up these nets, other species of birds might not see them as well. So you might catch other birds that you didn't mean to catch. And we did on this day catch a sharp-shinned hawk. They have these really big talons, so you have to be careful about how you hold them so that they don't scratch you too much. But they're really beautiful, beautiful birds. And here are some of the sights that we saw. This is a glacier on the far right, and this is actually a small avalanche feeding into the glacier. And we took a small cruise up to the glacier, and we were just barreling through all of these chunks of ice. It was really wild. More mountains. They're so beautiful. Those are all birds. Isn't that crazy? It's so wild. That was like one of my favorite things. Those are all birds called kittiwakes, and they live on the cliffs alongside the ocean. And on my last day, we went kayaking in an alpine lake right before heading home. So I had a wonderful time in Alaska studying the American robin, and I hope you all get to have an experience like that in your future. Super rewarding, and definitely think about becoming a scientist yourself, because I wouldn't have had any of those really cool experiences without being involved in science. So I hope you enjoy some of the other presentations today, and sorry I couldn't be there. But here, let's stop. Bye, guys.